Welcome to this week's edition of Ted's Tips. Have I got a treat for you this week? I'm going to talk about where, how, and when to catch a legitimate 10-pound plus walleye. And it's going to be a two-part series. The first part today, I'll be showing you some map work. Where are the areas that you can catch some of these big fish? And then on the second part, I'll give you the program. But I'm very excited about this particular edition of Ted's Tips because I'm giving you some spots or areas that I've caught a lot of big fish and have had a lot of experience at this time of the year. So the fishery I'm going to be talking to you about is the fishery of Lake Erie, the Great Lake Erie that's got millions of walleyes in it and lots of legitimate 10-pound plus walleyes. So hold on just one second, and I'm going to be doing some mat work first, and then next week's part 2 is going to be how and the program that I use to catch them. So here is a map of Lake Erie. On the north end here, these walleyes in the springtime, I'm talking about April. April's got a combination of pre-spawn and post-spawn walleyes. The post-spawn walleye is probably a little bit more active, but they aren't as big, obviously, because they've already laid their eggs. So these walleyes in Lake Erie, they spawn in the Detroit River, the Maumee, the Sandusky, and right here is a series of reefs. And this is the area I'm going to zero in on because I've caught a lot of big fish in this particular area. And what I think happens, these walleyes, they spawn and then they move out into this deeper water. In any areas where you've got deep water, say 30 feet is kind of the average depth around here. There's some 50-foot water over here. But in general, this whole area is between 30 to 36 feet of water. And the tops of the spawning reefs top out at about 13, maybe 14, 15 feet of water. And these are not spots, but these are areas. This is where you're going to be trolling. And like I said, in part 2, I'll be talking about trolling this area. And I've kind of marked out some of my very favorite areas that I like to troll. You can see here, just north of the spawning reefs, this is Niagara right here. And then just to the west of Green Island, in 2002, I set the all-time one-day 5-fish record of 53.2 pounds right in this area. I've also caught a lot of big fish between Rattlesnake and Green Island. And then just to the west of North Bass Island, and then to the north of North Bass Island. So this right here is North Bass, Middle Bass, and South Bass Island. This is Catawba. You can actually take your boat, truck, and trailer and take a ferry right across here to South Bass Island, stay on one of the condos out here, and then in April you can fish anywhere around these islands, and no matter which way the wind blows, you can usually get to an area where you can fish and actually get out of the wind and waves. So I've done this quite a bit, just gone all the way across, stay right here. When we used to have tournaments out of Put-in Bay, this is exactly what we did. We could pretty much fish anywhere inside this little channel, get on this side of the island or that side of the island. And by no means, these aren't the only spots, but these have been spots traditionally over the years that have really had good success. This is Middle Island right here. Just to the west of Middle Island is a good area. Right here on the east part of Middle Bass Island, you can see this big long point that comes out. This whole area is usually pretty good. And then this area here right by Kelly's has traditionally always been a real good spot. Right here on this north of this northwest corner of Kelly's. And then right in here, this is again, another point. And then Airplane Reef is right, or Airport Reef is right here. And this is always a good spot. And I think what happens, these fish that spawn out of the Sandusky come swirling around Kelly's Island. So in general, these are kind of just some areas that I've had a lot of productive success in the past. And, by no means it's not where all the fish aren't just in those areas. You're going to find other areas, but these have been proven producers for me over the years. So I hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Ted's Tips. Stay tuned right here for next week's edition of Ted's Tips, Part 2, Lake Erie.